Hi everyone, and welcome to this December Christmas Hollywood costume video. For those of you who have been following me for some time now will remember that last year I made the gingham dress worn by Barbara Stanwyck in Christmas in Connecticut, and this year I thought I would tackle probably one of the most famous Christmas Hollywood dresses. As you saw in the introduction, it's the red velvet dress worn by Judy Garlands in the 1944 film Meet Me In St. Louis, and the costumes for this film were designed by Irene Sharaff. This month I will be doing the video in two parts because I'm also making the petticoat which goes under the dress, which you see very briefly in the film. So this part we'll be dealing with the petticoat, and in the second part we'll be dealing with the red velvet dress itself. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you at the end with the finished petticoat. I start by cutting out the skirt panels in the organdy. This will be for the underlayer. I then sew the skirt panels together, except for the centre back seam. Next, I move on to sewing up the hem of the skirt. Here, I'm cutting out the panels for the frill that goes around the bottom. Once sewn together, I sew a 1-inch hem and then apply the lace trimming. I use a piping cord to both give me a finished edge at the top of the frill, and I also use it to gather up the frill itself. Once this is done, I then sew it onto the skirt. I then finally sew up the centre back seam on the skirt and the frill. Now I move on to cutting out the silk for the top layer of the petticoat. Again, I sew the skirt panels together. I then start applying the 3 layers of lace frills. The lace frills are finished on the top edge with beading lace, which has ribbon threaded through it. Finally, I move on to sewing the waistband onto the petticoat, and sew on the beading lace detail. Here's the finished petticoat. I know I said last month that I thought that the Ava Gardner petticoat I made was my favourite thing, but now I've made this, I think this one has now become my favourite petticoat and probably the favourite thing I've made this year so far. I just love the detailing on it. And it's worn so briefly in the film that you hardly ever get to see any of these details, like the lace around the waist and the double loops on the bows. I'd like to thank my patrons for their continued support of me here on the channel. If you would like to support me, you can either subscribe to my Patreon, which I will leave a link to in the description below, or you can click on the super thanks below the screen. Please join me for part 2, where I will be making the red dress that Judy Garland wears on top of this petticoat. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon.